This video is brought to you by Sony. Learn what happens when artists meet engineers.
Hey everybody, Jim and Eric here to talk about some big news that broke at the very end of last week. Batman vs. Superman, or whatever the hell it'll end up being called, pushed from July of 2015 to May 6th, 2016. Why is that date significant, Eric?
That date is significant because besides it's 10 months later, so a big delay, a Marvel Studios movie is scheduled for that date. They have not told us what title it is, but they've already claimed many dates for several years. And so there's a Marvel versus DC showdown like we've never seen. Currently, the same date for both movies.
Now, obviously, it looks like even though Batman vs. Superman is getting delayed, and it's a significant delay, for whatever reason, they said to allow him time to get his vision, whatever. It's probably the script.
Right.
It still has a greater advantage than Marvel, simply because Marvel hasn't announced what movie it is.
Right.
So, to me, it would seem like the issue is what could possibly, in this Marvel versus DC box office battle, what can Marvel, what kind of weapon can they pull out against DC's two biggest superheroes joining up, plus Wonder Woman? I'm like, what if you're Marvel? It's the first time in this rivalry you're actually at a disadvantage.
Yeah, because if Man of Steel 2, whatever we're calling it, had stayed summer 2015, it's very likely it would not have beaten Avengers 2, just based on how good the goodwill was towards that film. It's going to be giant movie. And Man of Steel sequel will be also, but it probably wouldn't have done as well.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, it's the biggest guns they have. And to answer your question, I don't think there's anything Marvel can get ready that quickly that would be bigger than it. Because honestly, it would have to start with Iron Man or Avengers. It's too quick. They're not going to open an Avengers movie.
And Downey is only signed for Avengers 2 and 3.
Right.
So that means now you're back into down that rabbit hole again of, well, how much money do we give them?
Right. And I don't think it was going to be either of those movies.
Yeah.
So I don't think, I don't think that any movie that's not an Iron Man or Avengers movie that they've released so far, the franchise they've established, which are all big hits, but anything can be bigger than Batman, Superman.
Really, of the ones that they've kind of got on the docket, but haven't been assigned to any of those dates. They put out release dates, but for unspecified movies.
Right.
So it's like, well, we just want to have a movie then. We'll figure out the movie later and open it. Doctor Strange seems like it's a likely candidate, but you have to introduce this character to the public. And even though I love Doctor Strange, I don't see him being able to put a dent into Batman or Superman, let alone them together, plus Wonder Woman.
Right.
It's like he doesn't really stand a chance, I don't think.
Yeah, even if that, there was that rumor that Johnny Depp had met for Doctor Strange, even if that came true.
Which it would need.
Johnny Depp is Doctor Strange. That's a hit movie with the Marvel Studios logo, but it's not bigger than Batman and Superman. It just isn't, Batman alone is so huge. The fact that no matter what we think artistically of how this movie works out, it's going to be such a giant movie because it's the new Batman, and he's in a movie with Superman.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We know that there's Black Panther as a possibility. We keep hearing maybe Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. All could be great movies.
But it seems like you would almost have to go the safe route of a sequel like Thor 3.
Yeah.
And Loki being, outside of Downey, probably the biggest quote-unquote star, which is weird to say because he's not a star in any other capacity except as Loki.
Right.
But the character of Loki is so popular and has kind of now, is beginning to transcend just fans that, Hiddleston is got a following, that it would seem like you would have to play it safe and go with a sequel featuring a known face.
Right. And Thor, think about it again, it's hard to think that even though Thor 2 only came out a few months ago as we're recording this, 2016, it would be almost 3 full years since Thor 2. It would be time for a new Thor movie that year.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Thor 3 or a Loki spinoff, that's certainly a possibility.
I mean, and just to get into some slight spoiler territory here, you need a Thor 3 to rectify, or not rectify, but address the ending of Thor 2 because it's obviously a huge plot development. So, do you think then, outside of Loki or Thor, is there an established character, one that we've already seen movies of, that isn't Downey that could, like, I mean, is it really, at the end of the day, you're going to need Downey to go up against?
Yes. I mean, honestly, I think the answer is if they want to actually, be on the same level financially, again, just talking financially, we'll see how any of these movies work out. Yes, it would have to be Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in that movie.
Yeah.
Because, nothing else. It's like, again, Thor 3 could open great, won't open bigger than Batman and Superman.
Does Marvel blink? Do they move?
I think they have to, unless they can get some crazy deal going. But I don't think they want to work like that. I would hope that. I've talked to some people about this in the past few days, and some people even said, and I agree, it was kind of a both ballsy and kind of dickish move by Marvel to claim dates without titles, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's our date, and we're gonna have something there. And so on one hand, there is that it's like, well, what is the movie? And on the other hand, it's like, DC's definitely, being kind of jerks here themselves, Warner Brothers, I should say, by saying, we're going to go on the same date and you're going to blink. But I think they're right. I think they've calculated what we're saying. They're saying...
And they're getting a lot of buzz and press now for their movie. Not that it wasn't getting any, you know. But it's suddenly now, it puts them on the same level as Marvel, and it gives them something... turns the conversation around from it being a troubled production to, ooh, they're going head to head, Yeah,
even the lightning rod of controversy that was Ben Affleck being cast, everyone's going to go see it. Everyone's going to say, even if you said that's the worst choice they've ever made, you're going to go see that movie. You're going to go see Ben Affleck as Batman, fighting or teaming up with Superman, with Wonder Woman hanging out too somehow.
Yeah, they're all just getting coffee. It's a Linklater film. All right, so if Marvel blinks, do they avoid that month entirely, or are they just going to push it a week or two? Like, do you seed that month? Because they have something else coming out July 8th, I think. So,
Maybe. I mean, you were mentioning how they also have they have to figure out, we're so far ahead, but they have to figure out that Amazing Spider-Man 3 opens in June of that year. Again, Marvel has no control over that movie. That's Sony. They're not going to get too close to that. And then I'm just thinking about the fact that X-Men Apocalypse opens at the end of May 2016, another movie they don't want to go right up against. So I really wonder if maybe instead they'll go earlier and go into April. This year, they're going to release Captain America the Winter Soldier in April. It's a first for them releasing one of their movies that month. But assuming that does well for them, and I think it will, I think that might be really viable. I mean, Fast 5 already did we're going to start summer at the end of April thing. And I think maybe Marvel says, okay, we have to leave this date, but we still want to be part of the summer movie season, and here's a way to do it at the end of April where we're really going to be the only game in town. So that's one possibility I think is a strong possibility.
Well, this certainly won't be the last time we talk about all this. Keep it locked here to IGN. Thanks for watching.